there is new video today revealing, I don't know who this is. There are reports that it's Renee Good's partner or wife, but I don't think it actually is. I think it's somebody else who videotaped the whole thing from behind the confrontation. But would you listen to the question this person shouted at the cops after Renee Good was shot after she accelerated her car into an officer? Stop 51.
Why don't you have real bullets? You're scary!
Okay, so it is the Why did you have real bullets, Andrew?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that tells you everything you need to know. It's a game. It's theater to them. Everything in this has been theater. When you have the mayor basically deciding the case after looking at one of the many, many videos that are very difficult to interpret, when you have the governor of the state come out and say that he's going to call out the National Guard essentially to fight with federal forces, which is a declaration of civil war. It's all fun and games, and it's all make believe. And it's absolutely, it's really disturbing. I mean, this is a conversation that I feel was interrupted after Charlie Kirk was murdered. The revelation of just how violent, how lawless, how destructive the left is in this country while claiming that the right is all those things. There are obviously always going to be bad guys on both sides, but that's not the issue. The issue is this is a movement that is anti the founding of this country, that believes it has the right to commit acts of violence, that will talk you out of its burning down a city. They'll tell you that that's not an act of violence because it's an act against property, as if property were not an extension of the people who build it and the place that holds their hopes and dreams and lives. I just think, this is a reality that I don't feel the right has gotten its head around. I mean, I am all for, as you know, you and I have talked about this, I am all for dispelling and intellectually browbeating the Jew-haters and the conspiracy theorists among us. But we have got to bring the right together. I mean, and when I say this left is so violent and so lawless and so dangerous. And we defeated them. We defeated them in the last election, not just because of the great candidacy of Donald Trump, but because a phalanx of rebel media that included Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro and the Babylon Bee, and even guys who are not that political like Joe Rogan, and even people on the left like Bill Maher, who at least believe in freedom. These people have got to stick together and stop squabbling among themselves, because
I totally agree.
The threat we face is so incredibly high.
I will say for the record, one's attempt to forge, reconciliation in this lane can go completely unrewarded and can wind up being futile.
It's insane. Listen, I agree. And especially on social media where people forget that they're talking to actual other human beings and use kinds of language against each other that is completely uncalled for. I think in the battle of ideas, that is one thing, and the battle of ideas is serious. And I think we should all take it seriously. But in the absolute personal attacks that I see on the right, I think they're not taking the left as seriously as they should. And they're not remembering.
Right, that's the enemy.
That's
the enemy.
That's right.
What's happening in Minnesota proves that better than anything.
Absolutely.
And it's not just like the crazy loons leftists who are like crying on camera, who are kind of funny. It's the ones who are actually out there. They're threatening to kill us. They're loading their guns. They're doing videos of it. And they're saying they're going to take out, yes, ICE agents, which is bad enough, but also MAGA, like literally threatening us, which they just did with Charlie. They celebrated the murder by Luigi Mangione that guy wasn't MAGA, but like they're fine with political violence. That's like what I've been trying to say all along, Andrew, is like, we do have defined enemies and we must band together in defeating them, because it's like it's at a crescendo right now. It's almost at a genuinely frightening crescendo on the left. And they're pointing to us, saying we're the ones crescendoing it.
That's right. They can pick out the outsiders among us and make believe that they're the same as the insiders among us, the AOCs and the mayor of the city of New York, who is one of the worst people in the country. And really they have to be battled. And we forget so quickly, and this is partly the media does this even to people on the right. We forget so quickly what happened under the Biden administration. The parents protesting pornography, homosexual pornography in their elementary schools, who were threatened with investigation by the FBI as terrorists. The people who went to Latin Mass were threatened by the FBI. The people knocked off social media for their opinions, including the president of the United States, who were banned and silenced. We came this close to losing our First Amendment under the Biden regime, and it really was close. And we got to remember the power that we have amassed by being a fearless rebel media that speaks its mind and that allows people in. When I mentioned Bill Maher, I mentioned him on purpose because I always have respected him, even though I disagree with him 85% of the time. Yeah. I've always respected the fact that he'll bring on Ann Coulter, that he'll talk to Ben, he'll talk to anybody basically, because he believes in the founding. I think that's the battle we're in. It's not between left and right. It's between those who believe in the founding of this country and why we wrote the laws the way we did and why we set up the Constitution the way we did, and the people who don't believe it. They just believe, it was a bunch of white guys who hated black people and they owned slaves, and that's evil, and let's knock down their statues and build statues of George Floyd instead. I mean, those people are not just crazy, they are freaking dangerous, and they're close. They not only dominate one of our major two parties, they are absolutely in control of one of our major two parties, which was not always the case, but they also dominate our huge swaths of our press. And, I think that even some of the press that I would call right-leaning, they don't understand it. They do not understand.
Oh, listen, let me play you a little sampling, okay? This is Democrats and media, but I repeat myself. But just take it. Here's a little flavor of how they've been talking about the Minnesota case, SOT 53.
That ICE agent murdered a woman in Minneapolis.
This officer not only needs to be fired and suspended, but based on the video, he needs to be charged with murder.
I'm mad. I'm pissed off. This looks like murder.
ICE has gone rogue. That officer needs to be arrested and prosecuted.
When I look at that video, I see murder.
I will not be fucking gaslit by these people. Jonathan Ross murdered her.
Okay, here's one more. SOT 52. This is the newly reformed CBS News, the reporter Nicole Saganja.
DHS this weekend released a video showing the minutes leading up to the murder of Renee Good. She and others are heard honking car horns. Trump administration officials have claimed she intended to ram ICE agents before she was shot.
Well, there's only two options, Andrew. It's either stupidity or intentional malfeasance.
It's intentional. Guess? It's intentional malfeasance. Listen, even you guys were talking about language when you were talking about the Supreme Court, and even the language they use when they say you have a right to protest in this country. Absolutely. If you want to stand off on the sidelines with a sign saying, if you're really, really nice, you get to break our immigration laws, go right ahead. But these people are throwing things at federal law enforcement officers who are actually doing what they're hired to do. It's not like they're breaking the law. It's not like they're being abusive. They're actually doing what they're supposed to do, which is enforce federal law. And people are debating whether the wheels were turned quite toward the agent when she tried to run him over, and are saying, well, he could have jumped out of the way, or he should shoot to wound, like on an episode of the Lone Ranger television program from the 1950s. It's nonsense. I mean, these are guys. The main thing you want in this situation is that law enforcement goes home safe. That's the main thing I want. I want them to know that law enforcement can enforce our laws and go home to their families without being injured. And if you're out there injuring them, listen, I am not somebody at all who is celebrating the death of Renee Good. That's not at all what I'm doing. I'm just saying, when you do that to a law enforcement officer, you're risking your life, and it's not his fault if you lose it. That is the only thing. And it's terribly sad and it's terribly bad, but it's not the fault of the officer at all. And that's the general.
I agree. It's sad she made the decisions she made that day. Yes. That's what I'm sad about, and that her children are paying the price for it. No one wants to see a child suffer, but they are suffering right now because of their mother's really terrible judgment. I did want to show you a little bit of the flavor of the lunacy. Speaking of, this is the enemy. Let's run these SOTs. There's out of Minneapolis with the protesters yesterday. Start with 59.
If they're going to murder us while calling us fucking bitches, then I think we need to be bigger fucking bitches. Fuck ICE.
So the world is on fire and things are horrendous right now, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I want to be clear where I stand. Fuck ICE. If they come to my town, I will be in the streets defending my community. Don't look away from this. It is so important that we keep paying attention.
Hey, if you're an ICE agent, this might be a good time to kiss your spouse and kids goodbye, because you know what? You might not be coming home tomorrow.
Wow.
Gladly. And your family will be.
Okay, I've just got one more for you, Andrew, and I'll give you the floor. Speaking of the white people duty, Joy Reid felt the need to weigh in. Here she is in SOT 57.
This woman was part of a group of people who they train to try to be ICE interrupters. And what they try to do is observe what ICE is doing, film them, and try to use their white privilege, to be honest. They're mainly white people.
Which is what we ask.
Which is what we ask them to do, right?
Yeah.
Because black people, like, we can't put our bodies on the line because cops will shoot us. And so the presumption had been, particularly a white woman, because remember, part of the rationale for doing this with ICE is to save white women, pristine white women, from being ravaged by, criminal brown men.
Great,
so
I'm in favor.
White women have been taking the lead in being the ones to step.
Wow.
Great. Well, is there some problem with having white women get saved from rapes, Joy? Anyway, you get the flavor, right? You get the flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. And this race thing, I mean, it's the same with every social movement in America. It starts out with a perfectly reasonable ask, can we please, not ban black people from using the same bathrooms as white people? And it ends up being taken over by the left and being turned into the exact opposite of what it's supposed to be. Civil rights is now in this country a racist movement. It didn't start out that way. They promised us it wasn't going to become that way, but that is what it's become. And the other day, Donald Trump said, because of civil rights laws, white people are being mistreated. And everybody said, oh, how shocking. What a terrible thing. He's right. He's absolutely right, because the left takes over every social movement. And the reason is we're blind in one eye because of our media's corruption and because of our academy's corruption and because of Hollywood's corruption. We see everything through the left-wing perspective, every single thing. And it affects even right-wing people's thinking. They don't understand how dangerous the left is.
A new year means new financial goals, like making sure your savings are secure and diversified. Will this be the year you decide to talk to someone from Birch Gold Group? They use an educational approach with a deep understanding of macroeconomics. There are forces pushing the dollar lower and gold higher, which is why they believe every American should own physical gold. So until January 30th. If you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. To claim eligibility and start the process, you just text MK to the number 989898. Birch Gold can help you roll an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and you are still eligible for a rebate of up to $10,000. Consider making right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of a rebate up to $10,000 when you buy before January 30th. Text MK to the number 989898. Claim your eligibility today. Again, text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.